Okay, in problem number 41, we want to analyze relationships. And what do we mean by that? We want to be able to look at an equation or a number of equations and begin to think about what each part of that equation is saying and to see whether it makes sense that that particular equation solves the problem that we are attempting to solve. So let's talk about the scenario. A baker orders 162 eggs. Each carton contains 18 eggs. Which equation can you use to find the number x of cartons? Explain your reasoning and solve the equation. So let's take a look at the different now there are two ways of doing this. One way is, if you think you can, solve the problem or set up the equation yourself and then look for the answer that matches your equation. So let's think about what we have here. A baker orders 162 eggs and each carton contains 18 eggs. So what we could say then is that we know that the final result, the number of eggs that we have, is 162. And we know that there are 18 eggs in each carton. What we don't know is how many cartons we have. So we're going to multiply 18 times the number of cartons that we do have. Now, some people might set this up by saying that x is equal to, you take the 162 eggs and you divide it by how many eggs there are in a carton, and that would be x is equal to 162 over 18. Actually, both of those are correct. So we want to go over and look at the different possible answers that we have. So let's look at A. Now A says 162 times x. Well, if x is the number of cartons, then would there be 162 cartons times the number of cartons? 162 eggs times the number of cartons would equal 18? That doesn't make sense. So B, we would have the number of cartons divided by 18 would be equal to 162. Now, if we were actually to go ahead and solve either one of our equations on the right side, we would know that we would get 162 divided by 18. That would be 9. So, in actuality, there are 9 cartons of eggs here, and if we divided 9 by 18, we should get a half and not 162. So B cannot be the solution to this. C looks exactly like what we had in our first attempt to write an equation. 18 times the number of cartons, 18 eggs in each carton, times the number of cartons is going to equal 162. In D, the problem would be that we're adding the number of cartons and the number of eggs per carton. So our units of measure could help us here. Cartons plus eggs per carton cannot equal eggs. Remember that when we're adding or subtracting, our two units have to be the same. Okay? So, and you could probably do a similar type of dimensional analysis or unit of measure analysis on each of the other ones. So, answer that we want here is C. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and use the units of measure in each of these equations to show why they, in the other ones, to show why they could not be the correct answer. So if we look at letter A, we know that 162 refers to eggs. So we would have eggs times, and x is cartons. The number of cartons we have. So our result there would be something called egg cartons. Now it's eggs times cartons, not just egg cartons, because we do have cartons of eggs. And we would end up with 18. That 18 refers to 18 eggs per carton. So hang on a second. What I want to write is what is actually stated in the problem. So 162 is eggs, the X is cartons, and the 18 is eggs per carton. So you can tell that eggs times carton is not the same, so I'm going to write a not equal to, is not the same as eggs per carton or eggs over cartons. So we know that A cannot be the correct answer, just based on the units of measure alone. In example B, we have X, which refers to cartons, and that's divided by 18, which is eggs per carton, and that has to equal to 162, which is eggs again. Now, if we were to use our ideas of dividing fractions, if we put cartons over 1, and then multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator, we would get cartons over 1 times, and that's cartons over eggs, and that should come out to be square cartons divided by eggs, and we know that that is not equal to eggs. So B cannot be the correct answer. Now let's talk about answer C. In letter C, we have 18, and 18 refers to the number of eggs per carton, and times X, which refers to the number of cartons. And here you can see that cartons cancel, or would be cartons in the denominator, and equals 162, which is eggs, and that is correct. When the cartons cancel, eggs equal eggs, and that is our correct answer. Neither of the other three could possibly work there. So my goal here is to show you how to use the units of measure in a problem to think about the possible answer and what units of measure the correct answer should have and must have.